My name is David. I grew up with social anxiety and lost 2 decades of my life because I let social anxiety control my life. But after working on myself and exposing myself to people, I got a bunch of lessons. I wish that I had these videos in our channel so that I was able to overcome my social anxiety years ago. And if you want to be less anxious around people and just be good at talking to people, this is the right channel for you. It's November of 2017 and I came to the US. Our stepdad is the one that has brought us over. He basically paid for everything. Now we are on our way to his house, and he lived in a huge house with a bunch of rooms. And in that house, his mom, one brother, and a sister lived in the same house. My stepdad's sister has a daughter that is a year younger than I was, and she's beautiful, like really beautiful. She has curly hair, beautiful eyes, and also a nice body. As soon as I came into the house, I saw her and she was sitting right on the couch. When I saw her, I was like, fuck, she's beautiful. And that's when social anxiety kicked in. My heart started racing like crazy, and I was thinking, oh god, I'm gonna live in the same house as her. I won't be able to go to the kitchen when she's there. I won't be able to relax on the couch because she's gonna be there. I wish that she was not here. Weeks passed and I noticed something that I really didn't expect. She was into me. She had a crush on me. Even her sister would come up to me and be like, hey, my sister likes you. I really wanted her. Like, no kidding. I would literally have dreams with her. Just in the meantime, we had our bed in the living room. So it was me and my brother. We would sleep in the same bed that was in the living room. And every morning, I could hear her voice when she would be talking to her cousin, getting ready to school. So I thought to myself, okay, I got a chance to talk to her. She's literally by herself. Every single morning, I got this. I'm gonna talk to her. It's Monday at 6 a.m. I am awake and she is in the kitchen. I could hear her voice. I brushed my teeth and everything because I was ready to approach her and talk to her. And I was like, come on man, you got this. Social anxiety kicked in. What if you run out of things to say? That would be super awkward. What if she thinks, oh, why is he talking to me? He's a little weird. What if her mom finds out that I'm talking to her? That would be weird. As I was laying down, I was just thinking about the worst case scenarios and the worst things that could happen. 40 minutes just passed and I just heard the sound of the door. Boom, she just left and I didn't talk to her. I felt miserable. I was so ashamed of myself for not having the balls to talk to her. And I was like, come on man, she was just literally right there. Why didn't you talk to her? Why were you scared of approaching her? I felt a huge amount of pain and regret, and I was like, okay, I'll do it on Tuesday. Something happened. I didn't approach her. I was scared. Okay, I'll do it on Wednesday. Something happened. I didn't approach her. I was too scared. I really wanted her and I really liked her, but I just couldn't talk to her. Social anxiety didn't let me talk to her. The worst thing that happened is that I saw this girl dating a guy from church. And when I saw that, I was like, that could have been me. But that's not me because I avoided that conversation with her. You see, as someone that grew up with social anxiety, one of the things that I secretly did was to avoid. I avoided parties, I avoided social events, I avoid talking to pretty girls. So I never get to experience to have a social event, or I never get to experience to talk to a girl. That was the thing that I would do. I would just avoid. I would just pretend that I was busy to not go to the party. I just pretended that I really didn't like the girl so that I could avoid talking to her. And this is something that is super toxic and super bad because every time that I would avoid something, I would be telling my subconscious. One is what my anxious mind is telling me is gonna happen, and it's actually true. If I approach her, she's gonna think that I'm ugly and weird, and therefore she's gonna reject me. Or her cousin, and she will laugh at me because I approach her. All of this was just in my mind, and the problem was that I believed my mind because I didn't prove my mind wrong. Because my mind would tell me she's gonna reject you, she's gonna laugh at you. And since I didn't approach her, since I didn't prove my mind wrong, I actually believed it. In other words, I would believe my anxious brain, and I believe the worst case scenario will come true because I wouldn't do anything to prove my mind wrong. And the second thing that would happen is, if the worst case scenario happens, I'm not gonna be able to handle them, right? So like, she rejects you, oh fuck, she rejected me, I'm gonna die. She rejected me. That means that no girl's gonna like me in the future. I'm gonna be fucking single for the rest of my life and I'm gonna die alone. Holy shit. Those are the two things that happen for years of avoidance, right? I believe what my mind would tell me about the worst case scenarios, And I also believe that I was not gonna be able to handle that. So I lived years avoiding situations, and this is the secret thing that a lot of guys with social anxiety do. They just avoid. There's a pretty girl in front of you, you avoid talking to her. You are invited to an event. You avoid it. You have an opportunity to do something, but there's people involved, so you avoid it. And this is the thing that people with social anxiety do. Avoid. And the more that you avoid, just like me, the more you tend to believe these two things more. People will reject you, people will laugh at you, people will mock you, and you won't be able to handle that. And I started to do is something called social Newton, and it has helped me a lot with talking to people. And now I've been able to make friends, approach someone, and getting rejected and be able to handle that. I'm like, oh yeah, I got rejected, and so what? Oh, I gave a compliment and I made someone's day. It's just beautiful to see that. I'm super happy to share this with you because as you can see, I would always be hiding or avoiding people. But literally yesterday this happened to me. My brother and I brought our cat to the animal hospital and left the room to get some coffee. We left the cat inside with the nurse. She was gonna do a blood test. And I was outside of the room with my brother, and I thought to myself, just push yourself, bro. Go inside and have a casual conversation with her. But then my mind was telling me, no. We're gonna be the only ones in the room. That's gonna be weird. What if you run out of things to say? But guess what? I did it anyways. I went inside and I had a conversation with her. We were talking about her life and how much she enjoyed working in that place. And I would say things like, oh, I can tell that you have experience on this. For how long have you been doing this? You seem to be into cats. You must have a cat. And these things made her feel super important. And it also made her night. Was I was overthinking, oh my gosh, she's gonna think that I'm weird or I'm gonna run out of things to say. I actually made someone's night. I actually made someone smile. That is the crazy part. I went from avoiding events, avoiding people, avoiding talking to people to like jumping off and just be like, hey, what's up? This is me. How are you? It's just beautiful, man. And these are the two things that has helped me to be more and these are the two things that has helped me to stop to avoid talking to people and be super afraid to talk to them. Be a social Newton. Become a social Newton. Just test. And this is what I mean by that. I was at the gym the other day and I'm doing barbell rows, working on my back, and there's a guy next to me doing some squats. I finished my 4 sets of my workout, so I turned to the right and I noticed that the guy next to me was drinking from the bottle of water that I brought to the gym. And I was like, what the fuck? Is he drinking my water? The bottle of water was nothing special. It was literally a plastic bottle of water with a blue label from the supermarket. And I look around and I see that my bottle of water was actually on the floor. I grabbed it and I drank water, but I thought to myself, I should make a joke about the bottle of water. Say something like, hey bro, you're drinking from my bottle of water. Just to be social and interact with people. But I was overthinking a lot. I was like, oh no, if I approach him and make that joke, he's gonna think that I'm weird. Oh, there's a girl next to him and she's gonna think that I'm a weirdo for making that joke. Thinking, I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. I grabbed my bottle and I walked up to this guy and I was like, hey, excuse me, bro, you're drinking. His reaction surprised me. Dude, that's so funny. We got the same bottle of water, man. We were laughing at it. We did a fist bump and everything and went back to my workout. What surprised me is that I was thinking and believing that he was gonna be like, what the fuck? He was gonna look at me weird, that I'm a weirdo. But actually, the opposite happened. We connected and had a great moment together. And I want you to notice this. What my anxious brain was telling me. Oh no, if I approach him and make the joke, he's gonna think that I'm weird. Other people are gonna see and are gonna think that I'm a weirdo, right? This is what my anxious brain was telling me. The reality is that this guy smiled. This guy actually was like, oh shit. This is a cool guy for telling a joke, right? This was the reality of what happened. So when I say become a social Newton, it's basically test, and see if the things that your anxious brain is telling you is actually true. They're gonna think that you're a weirdo. She's gonna reject you. They're gonna think that you're a loser. They're gonna mock you. I always like to do this when I'm outside. I always like to give a compliment, just have a conversation with the cashier, just ask them how the day is going. And every time I do that, my anxious brain tells me and screams at me. It's like, don't do it because they're gonna think that you're a weirdo. She's gonna reject you. That's what my anxious brain always tells me. But I do it anyway. And I see how people are just beautiful and people are just funny, lovely. And this is crazy for me because for my entire life, I always fear people. I always fear talking to strangers because I would always think that they were assholes or they were gonna make fun of me or they were gonna mock me. And so like every time that I would do this, when I would test to see if what my anxious brain is telling me is true, I'd be like, fuck man, this person smiled back to me. This person laughed at my joke. Oh shit, my anxious brain was lying to me all this fucking time. And the more that I'm able to do is, the more I see that the reality is completely different than what my mind tells me. Because people are actually beautiful, people are actually amazing. I've been able to break this belief and started to love strangers and just have conversations with anyone because I just started to jump off the bridge, because I just started to take the risk to be seen as a weirdo, to be rejected, to see if this thing that my mind is telling me is actually true. I want to go to places with those people. I want to go to a bar so that I can talk to people. I want to talk to the costumers. I want to talk to the cashier, right? Just because I've been able to do it, just take action, just take the risk. Just test and see if this that you have in your brain is actually true. And even if there are things like super hard, like approaching and talking to the beautiful girl, I like to do this because it's super challenging. And I like to play, you probably know this game, right? What are the odds? So I always, when I'm outside and there's a chance of talking to people, or there's a group of people, right? For like me, talking in a group of people is like super like challenging, or at least it used to be, right? Or talking in a group of girls. So I always ask myself, what are the odds that you go and approach them? What are the odds that you go and give a compliment? What are the odds that you go and ask the question, right? I always like to play this game with myself. And it's funny how my brain tells me, oh, they're gonna think X, Y, and Z about you. But actually the reality is completely different. What the reality is opposite to what your mind tells you. And the problem is when you don't take action, just like me, when I wouldn't take action on talking to girls or talking to strangers, I would believe what my brain was telling me, and especially what my anxious brain was telling me. So the more I do it, the more I like, fuck you brain, I don't give a fuck what you're telling me. The more I prove my anxious brain wrong. I'm like, you see, people are actually not that you will run out of things to say. You see, I actually have things to say. Oh, people think that you're boring. Whoa, I made some people laugh. I made some strangers laugh. I'm not actually the person that you're telling me that I am. Just like Newton, test gravity, right? What I mean, hopefully it makes sense, right? So your brain tells you people are assholes, right? Test this thing. Okay, let me see if this is true. Let me see if you are telling me the truth. Okay, fair enough. Maybe you do it. Maybe if someone ever like laugh at you, it's like, oh, you're a fucking weirdo. You can be like, okay, brain, you're probably right. I'm not gonna talk to people. But if you think, just like the examples that I gave you, just like the experiences that I had, every single time that I had a beautiful moment with people, my brain would tell me beforehand, don't do it. People are gonna reject you. People are gonna hurt you, mock you, make fun of you. So I want you to do it, right? And this is the action step. It's just become a social Newton. Just test to see if what your mind is telling you is actually true. Just go and approach people. Just go and give a compliment. Just ask the question. And you'll be surprised of how lied and scammed by your anxious brain. That was the first step. Be a social Newton. Test. So the second thing is get in the arena. So I made a video about this, which is called How to Get Rejected. And in this video I explained how I got rejected, literally like last week. And I was surprised to see how I faced that rejection. But what impresses me about myself is the way that I was thinking beforehand. I was literally talking to my brother about this. I was like, you know what, bro, I'm just gonna approach this girl and I'm gonna see what's up. Because I've been waiting for months to just approach her and confess what I feel to her, right? And I said to him, yeah, bro, I'm just tired of like waiting for months and just like and never approach her. So I'd rather approach her and get rejected than to not approach her and allow my anxiety to win this battle. So I went and approached her. Fair enough, she rejected me. She said no, but at least I got rejected. At least I know that she doesn't want me. If I didn't do it, I'd be like, what are the possibilities What about if she says yes? What about if she says no? Now I just kill all possibilities and I gotta know. Now I can just move on onto the next one. Notice this. I'd rather get rejected than to not approach her and allow my anxiety to win this battle than to not get rejected at all. You see, this is crucial when I'm talking to people, when I'm approaching girls, and when I'm talking to guys, trying to like make friends. I prefer to get a no as an answer rather than a maybe in my head. You see, years ago, I would be avoiding people and social events because of the worst case scenarios that could happen. And in this case, the worst case scenario happened. She rejected me. Not in a cruel way. She would just avoided the question. But I got rejected. And I was able to handle it. I was able to face it. I felt weird, of course. I felt, a little hurt. But it did not destroy me. And I understood that this is what I told myself months ago. I was feeling a little bit anxious when I was working because there was a bunch of people around me. And I said to myself, hey, brother, like, the things that you fear the most has already happened to you. Why are you so anxious of what's gonna happen if people see this, or if I say the wrong thing, or X, Y, and Z? Why am I so afraid if the worst case scenario has already happened to me and I was able to handle it and I faced it and nothing happened to me? And just like when I thought about this, I was like, wow, this is so true. Because I can raise my hand and I've said the wrong thing so many times because my English is not perfect. Because my English is basically the second language. I've said the wrong thing so many times. A girl saw that my hand was shaking when I approached her because I was super nervous, right? She saw that my hands were shaking and she saw that. I tripped in front of the crowd. And I've done so many stupid mistakes that people have noticed. So what? Like, so what? I've been able to handle each and all of them. Humans are super strong and we can literally handle anything. Think about that, right? Your mom dies. You can handle that. It's painful, I know, but we're able to handle such a painful moments. So it is the same thing when your anxiety kicks in and, oh, she's gonna reject you. The first thing was, maybe that's not gonna happen. And the second thing here is, okay, fair enough. If that happens, if you get rejected, so what? You can face it. You can handle it. You can face anything. Literally anything. And that's something that has been sticking in my mind. I'm like, oh shit. I've done stupid things and I've been able to handle each one of them. Why am I so afraid of making another mistake? Why am I so afraid of getting another rejection if I have gotten a rejection in the past? We can handle anything. And that's one of the things that I like to think about. It's like, why am I gonna be afraid of why am I gonna avoid events if I can handle any worst case scenario that happens, right? Someone rejects you. So maybe a guy says, oh, you're stupid. Yes, but I got friends that think that I'm smart. Oh, this girl rejected me. Oh yeah, but I got the other girl, she was giving me a look and she thinks that I'm attractive, right? We can handle anything. So when you're scared of saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing or getting rejected, let me tell you and let me remind you that you probably have done crazy mistakes and you probably have had super awkward moments. So what? You're still here and you were able to handle them, and you will be able to handle them. Any stupid or awkward moment that happens to you in the future, you will be able to handle it. And this is how I want to live my life, right? Because as the story that I told you, I lived a life of avoiding and regret. So this is how I want to live my life. Rather than avoiding or fearing the worst case scenario, I want the worst case scenario to happen to me in my face, so that I can be like, oh shit, this just happened and I'm still here. It was not a big deal and I can just move on. And the more worst case scenario that I face and that happens to me, the more I'm able to be less anxious when that happens again. Think about that. The guy that gets 100 rejections, do you think that he cares if he gets another rejection? No. The problem is that you probably had a few rejections in the past, and that's why you're super scared. But if you just go and get more rejections, there will be a point where, one, you get better at talking to people, and second, rejections no longer affect you, and therefore you're not gonna fear that rejection, and you're actually gonna be less anxious. It's all about repetition. So this is the action step. I want you to think about the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you. And I want you to look at yourself and be like, I handled that. Fair enough. It felt fucked up. You felt weird. It hurt you. But it didn't destroy you. You're still here. And you're still here to be able to get another or even worse thing, worse embarrassed moment. You can handle anything. And that's one of the things that I love to think about. It's like, bro, like, why are you so anxious? You can handle anything, right? And that's basically the video. Is just go and approach them with people. Just go and see if what your brain is telling you is actually true. And you'd be surprised of how lied you've been by your brain. So if you like the video, follow me and like this video. Thank you so much for watching.